The banquet hall buzzed with the familiar energy of naval officers celebrating another successful deployment. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light over dress uniforms adorned with medals and ribbons, each one a story of service and sacrifice. Admiral James Hartwell stood at the podium, his weathered face creasing into a smile as he surveyed the room. This was supposed to be an evening of camaraderie, of shared victories and hard-earned rest. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Chun sat at a table near the back, her posture perfect, her expression neutral. She had hoped to slip through the evening unnoticed, but the Admiral had other plans. He was known for his attempt at humor during these events, his way of cutting through military formality with casual banter. His eyes found her in the crowd, and Sarah felt her chest tighten. "Lieutenant Commander Chun," the Admiral called out, his voice booming across the hall. Conversations died down. Heads turned. "I've been reviewing the reports from your last tour. Impressive work with the drone operations? Tell me, and I'm asking this as a joke, what's your kill count?" The room erupted in uncomfortable laughter. It was the kind of question that was meant to be deflected with humor, acknowledged with a modest shrug, perhaps redirected to the team's collective efforts. Officers asked it sometimes, treating warfare like a video game score, a way to distance themselves from the weight of what they actually did. Sarah had heard it before, always delivered with that same casual tone that suggested the answer didn't really matter. But Sarah didn't laugh. She didn't smile. She stood slowly, her chair scraping against the polished floor, and the laughter began to fade. The silence that followed was different, heavier, filled with something the room hadn't expected. When she spoke, her voice was steady but quiet, forcing everyone to lean forward to hear. 473, sir," the Admiral's smile faltered. He had expected a deflection, maybe a witty comeback. Not a number delivered with such precision, such weight. Sarah continued, her hands clasped in front of her, her gaze fixed somewhere beyond the Admiral, beyond the walls of the banquet hall. "I remember the first one. His name was Hassan. I know because we intercepted communications afterward. He was 22 years old, and he had a daughter. I didn't know that when I pressed the button. I just knew the intelligence said he was a threat, that lives depended on neutralizing the target. I believed that then. I still have to believe it now." The room had gone completely silent. Officers who moments ago had been laughing now sat frozen, drinks halfway to their lips, forks suspended over plates. The Admiral's face had lost all color. The 73rd was a woman? Her name was Amira. She was carrying supplies, they said, but the explosion showed she was carrying much more than that. I tell myself she made her choice, that she knew what she was doing. But I also know she was someone's daughter, maybe someone's mother. 473 people who woke up that morning not knowing it would be their last. 473 faces I don't have pictures of, but I see anyway. Sarah's voice cracked, just slightly, but she pressed on. "You asked as a joke, sir, and I understand that. We all need ways to cope, to distance ourselves from what we do, but I can't distance myself anymore. I stopped sleeping 3 years ago. Not because of nightmares, but because of the quiet. In the quiet, I remember. I carry every single one of them." She paused, looking directly at the Admiral now. "I joined the Navy to protect people. I believed every mission, every strike, every decision was about saving more lives than we took. I still believe that, sir. I have to. Because if I don't, if I let myself think for even one moment that any of those 473 deaths were meaningless, I won't survive it. None of us will." The Admiral stepped down from the podium, his joke forgotten, his face etched with something between shame and profound respect. He walked toward Sarah, and when he reached her, he didn't offer platitudes or empty words. He simply stood at attention and saluted her, not as a superior officer, but as one warrior acknowledging another's burden. The entire room rose to their feet. One by one, every officer in that hall stood and saluted Lieutenant Commander Sarah Chun, not because she had the highest score or the most impressive record, but because she had done what so few could bear to do. She had looked directly at the cost of service, counted every single soul, and carried that weight with honor. As Sarah returned the salute, tears finally sliding down her cheeks, she realized something profound. She wasn't alone in her counting. Every person in that room carried their own numbers, their own names, their own midnight reckonings. The difference was, she had been brave enough to say it out loud, to strip away the comfortable distance and show the real face of sacrifice. The Admiral never asked that question again.